How you guys doing today? Good?
Right.
I'm doing awesome.
Good. And then we also have
Beautiful day.
some people on Zoom that will have questions as well.
There you go. I see him right there. I should back up so I'm in a good Zoom spot. There you go. Nice.
While they're getting set up, Coach, why don't we obviously just talk about maybe an opening statement about signing day?
Yeah, first of all, obviously it was a great day, right? Anytime that you got an opportunity to make your program better, bring in some quality student athletes into your program, boy, it's a great day. It's exciting, and the players, it's such a great feeling when you talk to them on the phone, you talk to their families after they've signed their scholarship papers and they send them in. I was talking to one young man, I could feel his smile ear to ear while he was on the phone. I mean, just how, what a great feeling that is, and how blessed they feel, and just honored to be a part of the program. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our recruiting staff. Devin Doyle, what he's done with Matt Pierce and Chandler Campbell. I thought all three of them, the transition with me coming in, the coaching staff, the way things are, boy, they did an outstanding job. And the people, everybody involved, from the hotels where we stayed, the places we eat, the transportation, just everybody that's had the opportunity to be around these young men as they come in and their families, and to make the impact. The one thing that was extremely clear from every player and parent when they talked with me just in the last 2 weeks was the love and the unity they felt within the program, and how much they felt like this was home, even with the transition. And so it was our players did an outstanding job. And so, we got a good class, and it's very young. We're just kind of starting out as we're transitioning in coaching staff, and keep looking for our OKGs and find those right guys for our program and for our staff and for our schemes as we continue to grow. So, obviously, January will still be a big month for us as well. So.
Coach, a lot of people are going to wonder why only 6 kids, but I think a lot of people also don't realize the landscape of college football has changed dramatically with the portal and such. Obviously, you can't talk about the portal kids because they're not here yet, but when you try to address fans and people that are interested in Coastal Carolina football, what do you say to them about just the landscape of college football, that you're not going to sign 25 kids anymore on scholarship just because of the way things have changed?
Yeah, I think that's everywhere. You're going to see that a lot. The portal. So just so everybody knows, if a player commits that's a portal player, it's not binding until he starts the first day in school. So there's really no reason. You got to be careful, right? If you sign a guy and he said, "Hey, I'm coming," he could still go somewhere else. And so that's a very fluid commitment, if you want to use the word, by a lot of young men, and things are continually happening daily, and you have to continue to recruit those guys. And so that's part of it, right? We have a couple, and we're not going to talk about them. We have a couple of young men that committed to us as walk-ons that we can't talk about them yet until they're legally admitted into the school and pay their housing. Once that happens, then we could submit that. And so, but they've committed to us. So, there's probably another 4, maybe 5 guys that have committed to us and said they want to play football here at Coastal.
These are transfers that you're referring to?
That are walk-ons, yeah. Some preferred walk-on players.
You talk about Derek Maxey a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of optimism about him and his potential here at Coastal. What stands out to you when you watched him on film and then talk to that young man?
Yeah, first of all, he's very dynamic. He plays a lot of positions. I was really impressed. I remember watching him. He covers a kick, he catches a pass, and he intercepts a pass in the first 3 plays. And so the first thing that jumped out at me was his versatility and his ability to play a lot of different things. Special teams is always a huge part of college football. And so to find a guy that's unselfish to be able to do that, especially in high school, you don't see those guys quite as much do that, because usually they're the star player and they don't want to, quote, get hurt and play those things, and he did, and that stuck out to me. And he could play safety. We could probably play him at nickel, corner. Like, there's a lot of things I think Derek can do. And he comes from an incredible family. I mean, his family, it was awesome. We went there, and it was one of the first home-cooked meals I had in about two weeks. It was awesome. And but what a great family. And you can see that's what makes him such a great young man as well.
What positions are you looking at more so to fill with the portal at this point?
You know, I feel like number-wise, we need some help in the defensive back room, corners. You know, I know numbers through some injuries. Some guys were older and have moved on. So I think that's an area for us. Obviously, you're always trying to replenish. So if you're losing, you know, a nose guard, you got to find a nose guard. If you're losing a bandit linebacker, you got to find a bandit linebacker. You know. So you're always trying to replace those guys. I'd say defensive backs is probably one of the top areas right now that we're looking for.
What was your conversations with Josiah and Willie about trying to stay here? And obviously they ended up leaving, but what was those conversations and how close were they to possibly staying here?
Yeah, again, great young men, and what they've done for Coastal Carolina football. And all the blood, sweat, and tears those two guys have put into the program. We couldn't thank them enough for what they've done and wish them nothing but the best. And they'll always be welcome here, always. I think that, you know, they just had opportunities. They've done a lot here. They've had a lot of success. And I think both of them were two young men that felt like, hey, Coach, you know, I want to try this at a different level. It was interesting. Willie had a great message to me when we talked last. He told me, you know, he was committing to Carolina, and he said, "Coach, be you." He said, "You're doing great." He said, "I really love the way you've come in and what you've done, and I would have loved to play for you." He said, "Be you. You're going to be successful here." And I thought that meant a lot to me coming from him.
Coach, you've got 6. Were they are all these 6 that were previous commitments and previous staff recruitments, or did you add somebody that wasn't one of those guys?
They were all except Lawrence. Lawrence was the one guy, and we were I think dabbling with him a little bit prior to, but the other 5 men have all been previously committed.
And just what does it say that, you know, I guess to the commitment they've made to the program and they stuck with it, and
no doubt, no doubt.
Decisions, they had options.
That's one thing with each one of them, their families and the players. When we talked today after they signed, I thanked them. I thanked them for believing in me and trusting me and staying loyal to Coastal Carolina. It means a lot. That's what an OKG is, a guy who's loyal, a guy who loves football, a guy who loves Coastal Carolina and wants to be here. I want guys that want to be here. There were some guys that chose not to. That's okay. I want guys that want to play here. They want to go on, wear the teal, and go out there and battle and fight for the people of Conway and the city and the fans. Like, that's what I want, and that's what these guys are. They're OKGs, man, and that's why I'm really excited about this group.
So can you say what was the number that was potentially going to sign today if all went well and all the commitments stayed, and you know, and we know what the number ended up being?
You know, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I couldn't give you an exact number because there were some, you know, there's still some we're battling with. I mean, it's recruiting's ongoing. It's like every day. It's like shaving, right? If you don't do it, you look like a bum, and you got to keep doing it. So we just keep recruiting away as hard as we can.
But yeah, there were a few guys though.
There's a couple, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still have 2 more days, Coach, in the signing period. Are you expecting to sign anybody else?
Potentially, yes. There's 2 individuals right now. Potentially, they might.
You're obviously recruiting probably one of the biggest position guys that you have on this team in Grayson. How much are you talking to him at this point about staying, and kind of where is that sitting? Is there any possibility that he may end up coming back?
So I try not to become a pain to Grayson, right? He's a smart young man. He knows what's out there, what he wants to do. He knows how much Coastal Carolina means to him and how much we love him and how much we want him here. He is Coastal Carolina. You couldn't imagine him playing in any other colored uniform but the teal. And I think he knows that. I hope he knows that. And so I try not to talk to him too much about that because everybody else is. But in our conversations that we've had, they've been good. You know, he's been very open and honest about them, as have I. I want what's best for him. I want him to make the best decision for him and his family, whatever that decision is, and I know we're all going to support him, whatever that is. I just sure hope it's staying here. No doubt. Love to have him back for sure.
With that being said, and you're an old school football coach, you know how it goes. Grayson, in the position he's in, going to a Power 5 to increase his stock in the draft and things along those lines, I'm assuming that would be kind of what he's driving for to help himself in that, and maybe the NIL as well.
Yeah, and that's really, you know, between him and I, and between, you know, what he wants to do. But yeah, a lot of players want to do that. I don't necessarily equate to that. I mean, Carson Wentz was from North Dakota, somewhere in North Dakota. I don't even know where North Dakota is.
They got a lot of schools up. They got
he's
a lot of
somewhere.
schools up there.
Yeah, somewhere up there. I mean, in terms of the town, like I don't know where that town even is, but they do a great job in football. No disrespect to them, but they'll find you if you're good enough. They'll find you. It doesn't matter where you play. I mean, Tony Romo went to Eastern Illinois. I mean, he had a pretty good career for the Cowboys, right? So I think that drafting, like recruiting, is an inexact science. You can't measure their heart. You can't measure their intangibles, and guys make mistakes sometimes. So, and that's in both areas. But I think as long as he's playing, you got to play. I mean, you know, you can't get drafted holding a clipboard. You know, so you got to make sure you're out there playing.
Coach, do you anticipate any NC State players possibly coming to Tulsa?
I don't. I think a lot of the players there they don't have a big portal. They don't have a big portal hit usually. Coach Dorn does a great job. I think those guys like staying there.
Coach, we got some questions from Zoom.
Sure.
You touched on Maxey a little bit, but a lot of these guys, in fact, all of them are multi-sport athletes. You know, play different things. You even got an amateur boxer in there.
Yeah.
Is that something that you and your staff will look forward to as you move forward?
Absolutely. I think playing multiple sports is awesome, and they learn so many different things. They learn, first of all, they're competing, and that's a big thing, right? They're always competing. I think that they learn from different coaches and different things. So, you know, just and then the third thing would be just the different movements, right? And I think that that's invaluable, especially at a young age as they're growing up. I think when they start to be too centrally focused, sometimes they miss some things. And yeah, Spencer with the boxing, that's pretty cool now.
Yeah, just be careful when you yell at him.
No doubt, no doubt. Or if we ring a bell, you got to be careful, man. He may come out of the corner, but yeah, it's an that's got to be the first. It is probably the first recruit in 35 years that I've ever known that sport was boxing. And talking with him, he's like, "Yeah, I got a match in like 2 weeks." And, you know, I'm like, "Really?" You're like, "Oh yeah, coach. I go out and box guys," and I'm like, "Okay." Like, I love it. That's why he plays linebacker. I mean, perfect place for him to play too. So.
Another question we have is, we noticed there's of the 6 guys, 5 different states. Is that another area that we can expect you and your staff to continue to recruit nationally and not just locally? Yeah, you know, I think I think number one, we're obviously going to try to do the best we can, again, to find the guys that fit our system, our kind of guys, wherever they're at. We start locally, we start close to home, and you start to branch out. You know, when I came here a little over 2 weeks ago, we kind of picked up the pieces where we were at, recruited the guys, watched them on tape, and recruited those guys. And so we'll get a chance to reconvene, take a little breath here, reconvene maybe the first week or so in January, and then get back out on the road and try to get through all the high schools in South Carolina over the time and build those relationships to be able to find those young men that have an interest in Coastal and that fit us. But I don't think when
staffs recruit, they technically look at areas. And let me go back. It's not like, hey, we got to go to this spot to get players. We kind of go where the players are based on the need that we have, and recruit that way. It's changed because you can get to anybody at any time now.
And then one more question, kind of piggybacking on what you said in terms of what's next. What's the next step in the process, in terms of continuing, obviously, for these next 2 days, still trying to sign some guys, transfer portal, February signings, what is kind of next for you and your staff?
Yeah, all of it. I mean, just you name it. We're going to keep recruiting. We're still looking at transfer portal. So players from the portal, from January 4th to January 8th, it opens back up where they could take a visit only if they're a mid-semester transfer or graduate. Yeah, graduate. So if they're a graduate, they can still take visits. We start school on the 9th. So that would be our last go run at players of that sort, or if they're a mid-semester guy. After that, obviously our team comes in and we'll start our off-season program. And then the coaches, that second week, because the first week's still a dead period, the second week we'll hit the road. We're going to have probably in the neighborhood of 7, maybe 8 or so still to give, maybe more. Again, depends on what happens here or there. So we got to hit the road and still go find some guys. So almost half the class is still out there, and I'm okay with that. There's a lot of really good football players still out there. There's some that we're waiting, some that can't graduate early. If they're at a private school, a lot of times those schools won't let them graduate, and so there's some May portal guys that some schools didn't want. They're not mid-semester guys. I mean, I always tell the story. Joe Burrow, when he left Ohio State, he left in the summer. That turned out pretty good, didn't it? So, like, maybe there's one Joe Burrow out there somewhere.
So, so don't you have a full complement of 25 scholarships to give this year, or?
Yeah, sometimes it'll vary based on the numbers that you have by graduation. I got to look back and see exactly how all that goes and where we're at.
But you would have roughly 20, because you were talking about only having, like, I was confused by the number you were talking about of scholarships.
Yeah, so we have 6. There's some out.
Yeah, there's 6
right
there now.
Right, and there's some out potentially if we get those guys signed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of guys within the program potentially. So, it could be 8, 9, maybe
Okay.
somewhere in that 8.
And then, so if you have, say, 25 total between that, this entire year, how do you see that breaking down as far as college, high school, junior college?
The best players,
Okay.
whoever they are. It's hard to elude that. We've earmarked some. I haven't gone through those numbers and said, whatever, for example, just take any position, like a tight end, for example. I'm not saying we're doing it, but to give you an example, we may sit in there and say, we need an older guy and a younger guy here. And so you may earmark that. But on the same token, you're not going to pass up a player if you get a chance. And so sometimes towards the end, those last 2 or 3, sometimes you either hold them, you don't use them because there could be a guy at the end of spring that all of a sudden decides I'm hitting the portal. We better have, because there is another portal time in May and April. So as you go through spring and you start to evaluate and you see your needs, and you've held 2, 3, 4 scholarships for those guys, right? Now all of a sudden you're like, okay, we need a whatever guard, and you go out and you can go find them, because there'll be a lot of that happens. And that alludes to your numbers too. What you were saying. You want to keep a couple for that reason.
Coach, where you are in terms of your staff, there's obviously been some reports floating around a little bit about some of the guys you may be bringing in.
Right.
Former Coastal Carolina player in Parks and stuff. Where are you sitting with the guys that are on staff right now that potentially may want to stay? And where are you at in terms of guys that may not want to stay and trying to fill some of those spots?
Yeah, I'm still working on all that. A lot of that's between us. I don't want to announce any hirings officially until we have the staff in place. And so we're getting close. And there are guys that are currently on staff that we're talking to and with, both as coaches and certainly support staff. So we're working on that daily, and obviously we'll have that done by hopefully the time January rolls around.
Any other questions for Coach Beck? All right.
Good.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See you guys in Birmingham.
That's right.
See you in Birmingham.
What will you be doing during the bowl game, by the way? Are you gonna, I assume you'll be there?
Yeah, I'm going to come down, actually. I've got a lot of work, so I'll probably come down maybe the Monday and then just kind of be around the guys as much as I can during that time. And then obviously watch a game and then come back. But I've just got some things that obviously got to take care of here and at the home front. And
Sit in the luxury box, put your feet up, have a cold beer, and watch the game.
I'll be. I don't know I don't know where I'm going to be for the game. I haven't thought that far. Right now, I'm trying to get through 1 hour at a time.
He's gonna be
You guys,
He's gonna be hiding from me. I know he's gonna be hiding from me.
That's like asking me 3 years from now what I want to be doing. I don't know. So.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Now we have interim head coach Chad Staggs.
Hey, man. First time I ever seen you in a suit. You look good.
Well, you see me at practice. I don't wear suits to practice.
Well, no, I mean, but I've seen you on the road stuff.
If you would have donated some money and come to the gala, you probably would have seen me in a suit.
She's got a valid point there.
Yeah.
Man, I saw that in the video and I said, holy shit.
I dress way better than Jamie. Y'all just didn't
I was
realize
like, look
that.
at this guy looking good in the suit, man.
Shaved and did it all.
Yeah, man.
I didn't dress up today. I kind of forgot about this. to be
Yeah,
honest
that's
with
all
you.
right.
Not that I had anything going.
You're not busy or anything.
No.
All right, well, Coach, while they're kind of getting set up, just maybe open up on kind of where we're at in terms of our bowl prep and make the plans as we move forward the next couple of days.
Okay, yeah. Well, the guys got some time off Saturday after practice, and they're reporting back tonight, team meeting. That was their time to spend with Christmas and family and so forth, because obviously we'll be on the bowl site during Christmas. We will practice tonight. We'll practice in the morning, get a lift in afternoon, and then we'll fly out and be in Birmingham tomorrow night. And then obviously you're back on schedule with the bowl practice.
Give me a little bit of assessment now that you. Let me rephrase that. How are you preparing? Is your job more so as an interim coach to kind of call whatever big play need to be called? And if so, are you sticking basically to what you've always done, say on defense, and let Willie do the offensive side of things? Is that kind of how you guys are approaching this?
I think that would be the smartest way. You don't want me calling offensive plays, and we probably don't want Willie calling defensive plays. You know, that's not our expertise. So, yeah, we'll keep it there. I mean, the only decisions I have to make in the game is maybe timeouts, and obviously some of that. Obviously, offense usually needs those more than defensively. And then do you go for it or not on fourth down? You know, then you have charts for two-point plays and stuff like that. But we have a system in place who's going to be helping me with those kind of things if I've got to make adjustments, or making sure that my coaches on sideline are making adjustments. So it shouldn't be drastically different.
How much have you looked into the ECU offense if you're just basically controlling just what goes on defensive-wise? Or are you doing that at all?
I really haven't looked at them defensively. That's really not my forte. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Willie and Newland and Dirk and all those guys have been doing their game planning like a normal game. So I know they have a good plan. They'll be ready. We just got to go execute it.
How do you prepare for a quarterback in Colton that's been in that system for, God, it feels like a decade?
Yeah.
And then not only him, but their tailback is very good, and they've got good receivers as well. Where would you rank this offense from what they bring to the table compared to what you've seen previously in this year?
Yeah, they're in the top half of our league, if you want to say, just from a skill set and talent. But you're right, the running back's really special. He's really good. The quarterback is, you know, he's not going to just blow you away with his arm. He's got a really good arm, but he knows exactly where to go. He doesn't make mistakes very often. He gets them in the right places, is what I've noticed a lot. I think he's kind of what makes them go. And then the receivers are big, and O-line's big. So we got our challenge in front of us. We need to go play. But if you can try to confuse the quarterback at times with some stuff, that's probably the best chance you have to see if you can talk him into a mistake.
Do you feel like your defense is gotten back to where you guys were maybe at the beginning of the season over the last couple of weeks in terms of just trying to turn the page from the last two games?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into that. You see the score at the end of the game. We gave up some big plays at Troy. If you look at the game, you know, statistically, but by down, that was our most efficient game we played. Success rate. Problem is we gave up some big plays. We didn't fit some cracker places. We just missed a tackle, got up, rolled over him. And so we didn't make some of the impactful plays and gave up some big impactful plays. So we're hoping, I wouldn't say turn the page, but We just need to play efficient and not give up the big plays, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, just I guess how hectic has this been? We talked a little bit about it, but I mean, you're wearing a bunch of different hats and trying to integrate with Tim coming in and everything. Just how hectic this last few weeks been?
Well, like I said, I don't know if anybody's ever had to do this as an interim head coach. As an active head coach, he's already hired and he's already working some day-to-day stuff. We worked great together, to be honest with you. I mean, he's awesome, as y'all had a chance to meet him. I've kind of taken and ran bowl practice, set the schedule for bowls, activities, worked along with Kevin in terms of what we're doing. My wife's got involved, Kelly, she's got involved, trying to make sure it's an experience for the families that are going and the kids that are going. But yeah, I'm wearing a lot of hats, and then you're game planning defensively because you're going to call the game defensively, and then you're recruiting. I'm still on staff here, so you're recruiting. You got the commitments that were very involved that then Coach Beck had to come in and try to build a relationship with real quickly, and then you got recruiting your own team, just like he is, trying to help him recruit the current team to make sure they're here and staying in the program.
Which obviously you've seen Maxie on film. You wouldn't have offered that young man. What's your first take on bringing Derek in and kind of what you think he could bring to Coastal Carolina?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I went down and watched him practice actually in the spring. We did a lot of positional side of the ball. So I went and watched a lot of the defensive guys that were our top targets that we plan on bringing in the summer. Was able to watch him practice, watch him operate from a mental part of the game. He's really smart, really sharp, has a good skill set athletically, but we're excited that that he's still coming. We're excited that what he's going to bring to the table, and I think his upside is just going to be huge here.
What's it say when you get a player like that offers from Oregon, Georgia, Florida State, I mean some of the big dogs in college football, that you guys were able to bring him here?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited. Sometimes offers are not always offers and stuff, you know what I mean? Or they were earlier and then they filled up, you know what I mean? So I don't want to say that we're exactly beating those guys on them, but we were in there battling with them and we were there and able to get him.
What's the feel of the team right now after the last couple of weeks, at least getting back and having some fun at practice? Because that's what I noticed last week. You guys were having fun at practice again. Yeah,
I mean, you were at practice. You saw it. It was good energy. We've had practice like that. Everyone's been like that. So hopefully tonight to come back with a little after a little break with some juice, and it's still fun. I mean, that's what we're known for, right? Winning football games and having fun doing it. And that was my message to the team when the first meeting when Coach Chadwell left.
I got one more. Go ahead.
I got one question from Zoom, Coach. Just kind of how important was it to have some of these guys that are transferring to say they're still playing in the bowl game? Obviously, referencing more or less Grayson and Willie, to be specific.
I think it's huge. I've said this several times, but the story of college football is probably getting maybe not talked about much. Is Grayson McCall has opportunities to do a lot of things. He says he's playing in the bowl game, and he decides that he would like to explore his option in the portal, but he even on his release says, but I'm still playing in the bowl game. I think it shows you the selflessness of him. I think it shows you the character of the team and what he means to it. And I don't know anywhere else that would be the case where the coach leaves and he was still willing to do that for his teammates. And I think that shows a lot. And same thing, I guess, probably with Willie. And Gerard Clark, got to throw him in the mix. He is in the portal, but we obviously know he's got a shot at the next level. And a lot of those guys would be leaving to go train, the day after Christmas and in the games later. So he'll push that back and not be selfish and for his own training and still play in the game. So, I mean, I think it means a lot to those guys that still would do it. Isaiah Likely did it for us last year. That was big.
And then to go back more specific for ECU, their stats are basically comparable to ours throughout the season. What do you think will be the difference in the Birmingham Bowl?
It's usually a few things in a bowl game. The number one thing is which team really wants to be there. You know what I mean? Like which team wants to play, wants to be there, which team is willing to put the work in to prep to win the game along with having fun on the bowl site. But it always is going to come down to big plays. It's going to come down to turnovers and who can execute the best in situational football to win the game.
What was the conversation like with DeJordan in terms of him trying to figure out what he wanted to do? he made that decision yesterday? Kind of what the conversations maybe you guys had that you could talk about?
It was emotional, you know what I mean? It was a hard decision for him. I tried not to. I think the last thing you can do is be too opinionated from your side of it, because, you know, what if something happens in the end and it hurts his chances, right? I think you got to lay it out there, but it was emotional. It was a tough decision.
Any other questions for Coach Staggs? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Who are these guys? They just hold the cameras?
They're just the news.
Holding up the cameras.
The other sports guys didn't actually show up, so they took care of them.
We knew Alan would be here.
That's right.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
So maybe actually get some game plans. It's the second interview process I've had to do for him. No wonder head coaches can't hardly coordinate.
All right. Senior running back Reese White.
Reese, what's up, bro?
What's up, guys?
Live the dream, man.
So Reese, while they're kind of getting ready, just talk a little bit about obviously getting to go home a little bit, or letting the guys off a little bit, and we haven't played in about 2 weeks. Just kind of what you guys and the team have been doing as we prepare for this bowl.
Well, we've been having a lot of fun. We've been trying to stay focused, not really think about everything on the outside, like coaches leaving, players transferring. We're all trying to just stay together and have one last, time together and one last game, play together, all as a team, and just play with each other. And the time that we got to go home, I thought it was great to be able to go see my family for a little bit before Christmas. And it was good to have a couple of days off, and now I'm back. We're ready to get practice going and ready to get started. More bowl prep.
Reese, what's the, when I was at a practice last week, you could sense that you guys were having fun again. It seemed like you guys were getting back to what coastal football is about, having fun, enjoying yourselves, and playing the game of football. Is that kind of the sense that you guys had after the Troy loss, and just trying to get back to having fun?
Yeah, everybody seemed to be a little down, and we had to just remind everybody, like, we're Coastal Carolina. We have fun playing football, so let's get everybody on the same track and let's continue doing what we do.
What do you see from this East Carolina defense when you watch them on film? Just the thing that pops out to you a little bit about what they're going to bring in Birmingham?
They're a very physical defense, and they like to run to the ball. I think for us it's going to be more about execution and our physicality as well. I think whoever dominates up front is going to be the more successful team.
What about their defensive line? They've got some pretty big guys up there. How much has the offensive line guys, kind of talked a little bit about, we need to get back to doing what we do, and that's being physical? I mean,
they've stated that they are pretty big, but they're always welcome to the challenge, and that's what I like about our own line. So I'm excited to see them, put their hand in dirt and get ready.
What do you see from Grayson over the last couple of weeks? Same old Grayson?
Same old Grayson. Still loves us, wants to be here, and just the love for us and our love for him is just unmatchable.
You recruiting him?
Yeah, a little bit, you could say.
We got one question from Zoom, Reese. Just not necessarily for you specifically, but or even for the team. Can you kind of describe the excitement you guys had in playing in another bowl, being especially the Birmingham Bowl this year?
Well, some people are not as excited that it's in Birmingham, but the fact that it's a bowl altogether is pretty exciting in general. We've only been to 2, and this is going to be our 3rd one. So for us to get an opportunity to get another bowl ring is huge. So everybody's excited to be able to get the opportunity again.
And just to actually have the opportunity to play this game, and the last 2 games weren't what you guys would like, is it you guys kind of feel just fortunate to be able to get this last game in and possibly turn the fortunes of the program a little bit?
Yeah,
going into next year.
We would love to, not dwell on the last 2 games. We've worked so hard in this season. We want an opportunity to finish with a bang, and that's what we plan on doing.
Reese, what do you think was the biggest issues that you guys had at James Madison and at Troy that really, put you guys behind the 8 ball to lose those 2 games? And do you feel like you guys have corrected that, or at least can pinpoint where those issues were?
I would say it'd be a little more of our focus, and over the last week or so after those 2 games, we've really turned that around and said our focus is more on what's next, not what happened in the past, and so we're really focused on what's ahead.
Reese, I know we haven't played East Carolina before in football, but do you guys, other sports have, particularly baseball last year in the NCAA tournament regionals, do you guys kind of sense or maybe take on a little more zeal towards this game, being that they're kind of considered, in our region, and they recruit against the same guys and they play basically the same teams, non-conference. Have y'all fed into any of that, or do you see it as the next opponent?
We see it basically as the next opponent. We don't really feed into all that. It is another Carolina school, so it's exciting to play another Carolina school, but at the end of the day, it is just another opponent.
Reese, you plan to be back next year?
I do plan on being back.
How much are you recruiting those guys that maybe are on the portal that haven't quite found a home yet? I mean, we talk about Grayson, but I know there's some other guys in there too.
I'm doing what I can. I don't really want to push them too hard because it's not necessarily my decision to make. But I'm doing what I can to try to see where their heart's at and see if they want to come stick around.
How much do y'all pay attention to these new guys that just signed today? Or is that kind of like, we'll see how they are when they get on campus?
We don't pay that much attention to them. We kind of, reach out to them a little bit and let them know what they're about to get into and welcome them. But we usually just wait till they get there, but we do reach out to them beforehand just to welcome them and whatnot.
All right, any other questions for Reese? All right, thank you.
Reese.
Thank you.
See you in Birmingham, buddy.
And then we got another veteran player for defense, our banded in, Adrian Hope.
Adrian, how you doing, buddy?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Living.
So Adrian, while they're kind of getting set up a little bit, just talk about, this will be your first bowl experience, joining us this year, and kind of how your first year at Coastal's been, and then your excitement for the bowl coming up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with the bowl game. I don't know. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait. I didn't know you get to necessarily get a ring. I didn't really know that was a thing until I seen those guys do that ring ceremony last year. And just I also love away games, and so this one's kind of special because we were celebrating Christmas down there with the guys. And I almost treat every away game almost like a vacation. It's a chance to see a new city. And so we get with this one, it's special because we spent like 5 nights down there, and so. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited. Mm-hmm.
How much have you guys as a defense kind of did some soul searching, so to speak, over the last couple of weeks to get back to playing the way you guys are capable of playing after the losses at Madison and Troy?
Yeah, so with with us playing so late, we just say, hey, we're going to focus on us and not necessarily have to focus on another opponent. We kind of looked in the mirror and seeing what we could do better and how we could get back to just fine-tuning our fundamentals, such as like tackling and turnovers and stuff like that. Stuff we kind of got away from towards the end of the season and stuff that we struggle with.
What about Colton when you watch him on film, their quarterback? Obviously, he's a guy that's been in that system for quite a few years.
Mm-hmm.
What stands out to you about obviously not a very mobile quarterback, but still can run the football.
Right.
But when you look at him, what are the things that stand out to you about from a quarterback standpoint?
I would say he's pretty efficient. He makes pretty good decisions with the ball, if you ask me. I also would say his deep ball is pretty accurate. And he's definitely a guy that we have to key in on. He's not looking to run it, but he will make the decision if that's what's best for the offense at the time. So I think he's an overall pretty good player, and we got to do everything to keep him, try to get him uncomfortable for real. And I think that's a key to kind of slowing him down.
And their run game is obviously very potent as well. And trying to slow their run game too is going to be one of those things that get you guys in the win column.
Yes, sir. He's a running back is very explosive. I don't know his name or anything like that, but I do know he loves to bounce it outside or make plays when he can. So we're just gonna try to contain him and keep him running in between the tackles. Yes, sir.
Where does this ECU offense rank amongst the offenses you face this year? Where would they be in comparison to?
That's a good question. I really haven't put much thought to compare them, but I would say they're up there. They're definitely one of the more skilled offense. I know their receiving core is probably the best we'll face, and I know this running back's pretty dynamic, so I'd say they're pretty up there. Yes, sir.
How excited are Lance and DeJordan about going up against these guys? Because obviously, when you're in college, especially Lance, because this is the last game, and so DeJordan as well, obviously. So, how much can you sense that these guys are excited about the challenge?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure if they'll be playing in this game. I know they both have some injury stuff that they wanted to take care of before they go to play bowl games and stuff. So I think they was trying to use this time to recover. Yes, sir.
So they're both out, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
All right. One question
So you had it.
from Zoom here for you, Adrian. East Carolina can really take the life out of the ball. They like to run the ball, and they're a very efficient offense. What on film has stuck out to you that they like to do throughout the game?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, they're obviously trying to feed their running back. They want to get him the ball as much as they can and create opportunities for him. Not only that, they want to they want to pass. I've noticed they like to use deep balls with the good receivers they have, and their quarterback is, like I said, I think he's more accurate on a deep ball than any other ball that he throws. So I think that's their game plan from what I've noticed so far.
And another question is, obviously you transferred in from Furman after graduating from there, and if I'm not mistaken, recently got your second degree here, or working towards your second degree. Just kind of what has your time been at Coastal so far? You're one of the ones that are doing it the right way in terms of graduating and moving on. What has your time been like this year at Coastal?
Oh man, it's been amazing. It's really been a dream come true. Not to dish Furman or anything, but it's just bigger football here, and like the fans are more involved. So it was pretty cool to experience stuff like the App State game where the fans stormed the field, and then getting a chance to play for a conference championship game. I know when I was at Furman, it was just whoever had the best record, but going down there and actually play for it was pretty exciting. And so I'm just so a lot of dreams got to come true. I'm thankful that I was able to play football on this stage and experience what I did experience.
Any other questions?
I mean, not knowing about Lance and Jordan, so obviously you're gonna have some younger guys in the secondary. How are these guys preparing for an explosive receiving core? Probably one of the best you guys have faced all year. I mean, obviously they're gonna have to step up, huh?
Yes, sir. I don't know about the X's and O's because I don't really focus on that stuff, but I do know that they're hungry and this is their opportunity, a chance for them to prove themselves and really showcase their skills, sitting behind talented guys like Lance and Jordan. So they're looking at it as an opportunity and just going out to compete.
Any other questions for Adrian? All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
See you in Birmingham.
Yes, sir.